Welcome to the Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast, your home for all things football at Waldorf University, the best small college football experience in America. Hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson, from the secret gridiron bunker beneath Volsdorf Field. Now, let's meet the captains of today's podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the Waldorf Gridiron Podcast. This week's episode, we're doing something a little bit different. We're kind of excited about it. Tonight, this episode, we have a coach, and then we have the coach's coach. With that, I'm going to introduce Head Coach Will Finley and his beautiful bride, Kallie Finley. The two of them have agreed to join us, and they're just as nervous as we are. Rightfully so. If somebody had to interview my wife and I,
Oh, man.
I don't know. Don't look at me like that. We're not doing that.
The wedding, the Newlywed Game.
We did that once.
Lord.
That'd be bad. Really bad.
So, Kallie, currently she's an RN over at the emergency department at Mercy Mason City. Mercy 1. Is that what they call it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I almost call it Mayo 1. That would have been way off. Your bosses would have probably come hunted me down.
So angry.
Yeah. Originally from Atchison, Kansas. Now, interesting part, the way that they spell Atchison around these parts, because of a former band director here in Fort City, Randall, it was Atchison.
Yeah.
But I live down in that neck of the woods because Atchison is kind of between Kansas City. It's on the river between Kansas City and St. Joe. Yeah, and the home of Benedictine College, and we'll get there. Head Coach Will Finley, he's entering his third year as our head coach. It's his fourth year at Waldorf. He was 1 year as the defensive coordinator. He came in under, now what was that guy's name? Josh something?
Littrell.
Oh, that's right,
Littrell.
Littrell. Yeah, he's old news.
What's funny is that it's funny that you did that, but I'm not going to lie. For a moment, I had a brain fart. And if Josh is listening to this, he's like, I'm going to come punch you in the face.
Well, get up here.
Yeah, do it.
Get up here.
There
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Chip on my shoulder. Knock it off.
Snooze, you lose. Listen, you're out of sight, out of mind. That's the way it works.
That's right. So, Atchison, Kansas. Now, Troy is a history buff, so he probably already knows this. Birthplace of
Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart. So, do you have any insight? Do you guys like
say
talk
Bob
about
Seger, which is way off.
that? No, it wasn't Bob Seger. So, is that something that you guys get into the lore of Amelia Earhart and what happened to her?
Not really like what happened to her, but every July on her birthday, there's a big festival.
What do they do?
There's a country
Everybody
concert.
hides?
No, we don't go in the Bermuda Triangle or anything.
Just have a big party and everybody leaves on their own for no reason.
It's reminds me of Country Thunder. There's like a big country concert and there's a carnival and just stuff going on in town.
Do they sell T-shirts? Because I think I might
They
need a
do
T-shirt.
sell T-shirts.
Oh,
I could
yeah.
probably get
Is it
you
called
one.
like Amelia Earhart Days or?
Amelia Earhart Festival?
You can't forget the big fireworks
Oh yeah, and the best fireworks.
Oh, really?
Sure. Yeah. they're-
over the river.
Was there any controversy from like Night at the Museum, the third one? I think they went and then there was like an Amelia Earhart character in that.
Mhm.
Was there any controversy in Atchison?
No.
Well, there should have
No.
been.
I agree 100%. So, Kallie, you're going to have to help me out here. Did you go to Moore Hill?
Moore Hill Mountain Academy.
More.
Mhm.
Okay. So that was
How do you spell that? Why would you have said it that way?
Maur. More.
Yeah, I would have said Maurer, like Joe Maurer.
Well, I would have thought so too, but
Joe Mauer's name has an E in it.
that's a prep school there in Atchison.
Duly noted.
Yeah. After high school, and I was saying this right before we started, finding information pre-college on Kallie was darn near impossible. I think Moore Hill. I think Moore Hill, they closely guard the
It is a boarding school.
Oh,
I was not a boarder.
Oh, you weren't sent away.
but you
No.
could
You
have
were
been a
from-
boarder.
I could have been a boarder.
I'll tell you what, if we had a boarding school around here,
Yeah.
my dad would have been like, you need to live in the dorms like he did when I was at Waldorf.
And so they would have sent you. That's why they sent you to Waldorf. So after that, you went to Creighton.
I did go to Creighton for 3 years in Omaha.
Okay, and then after Creighton, now, so here's the things that I was trying to find is that you went to Benedictine after Creighton, the Blue Jays up there, and Benedictine Now, it says you studied psychology, but did you get a Bachelor of Science in Psychology?
I got a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology.
Oh, Bachelor.
Yes.
Why would it be arts?
Because
It just was.
Okay, well, I don't know how they do things down there in that state, but I guess it's an art, not a science.
it isn't a science.
Okay. I'm just going to take your word for it.
We've just lost all our psychological friends
Right.
tonight.
Yeah, both of them. Then at Benedictine, you also got your BSN.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
While you were there, I mean, we always have really smart people on this show. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That time it was just you and me, though.
we were great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked a lot.
Epic.
But in 2015, you were the recipient of the Johnson & Johnson Campaign for Nursing's Future Scholarship. That was a national thing from the National Student Nursing Association. There was only 27 of those awards. The National Nursing Association put out a total of 115 nationwide, and Kallie was one of those.
Really?
In 2015. And then in 2016, to keep up with this high academic achievement, she was the at Benedictine, the St. Scholastica Nursing Academic Achievement Award for leadership as well as outstanding academic performance. What was your GPA in college?
4.0.
What is the point of that?
I had no idea it went that high. I thought it topped out at like 2.85.
Wow, that's
maybe.
good. I'm glad, though, that, as a nurse, though, I'm glad you're, good at your studies.
So now you're actually moving on and furthering your education. Yeah,
I am. Yeah.
And tell us about that.
I'm currently getting my doctorate in nursing practice from Washburn University. I graduate in December.
If you're a doctor,
Washburn.
Should be an Ichabod.
you're a doctor of nursing.
Never.
I'm a doctor of nursing.
Be like doctor.
I will be a doctor of
Dr.
nursing.
Finley, and people will be like, but then the doctors of medicine, they're like, she's not a real doctor. And you're like, oh, I think I am. You want a shiv?
Yeah. So I will be a real doctor. I won't be a medical doctor.
Right.
But I will be a real doctor.
What?
Well, let's be honest. If you've ever been in a hospital setting or something like that, the doctors come in for 8 minutes with their patients. The nurse is spending all day, every day with these patients.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
when it comes down to knowing what's going on with these patients and whether it's you or somebody you love or somebody
Yeah.
you know, it's the nurses that do everything. It's the nurses that know everything. And they just have to wait for somebody that went to school a few more years to say, well, this is what's going on. Now, you came from a medical family. Is that right?
It's better than
My
chiropractor.
stepmom's a physician. I have an older sister that's an occupational therapist
Wow.
as well.
Will you be able to prescribe drugs?
I will be able to prescribe medications, we like to call them. Drugs sounds kind of illegal.
Well, it's,
What Troy's talking about probably is going to be illegal a little bit. I mean, yeah. And then,
You never know.
and then the probably the most important role in your life is mothers to Barrett and Lincoln.
Yes.
How old are the
Yes.
boys?
So currently Lincoln is 3 and Barrett is 4. Barrett turns 5 next month.
Big
So-
party planned?
Boys report on the 3rd for Waldorf football, and Barrett's birthday is on the 4th. So we'll be having a party at the DJ.
wow.
Yep.
There'll be a
Is
lot
he
of-
like that, though? I mean, that's part of the culture for him?
Yeah, that's part of the life.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that a little bit more.
Great.
That's what I'm really interested to hear about. Not just
Yeah.
we'll talk coaching football crap with
Right.
Coach Finley, but with Dr. Finley, we're going to talk about what is it like. We're going to start calling you doctor now because when are you going to graduate?
December.
Wow, that's impressive. Congratulations.
So not yet, though.
Not yet. I'm still nurse Finley.
4.5 years.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, and speaking of Marion Down,
Yeah.
did I say?
Wow.
You have to add my JUCO GPA in 4-year to get 4.0.
Get it together. Yeah. Still, that's the way you do it.
I think
the
you
way
do.
I do
When
it.
they talk about cumulative,
Mm-hmm. That's why
Exactly.
you have a cumulative.
exactly.
It's just not the average. You add them together.
Averages aren't good to me. So, Coach Will Finley, again, I said earlier that it's he's beginning his 3rd year as head coach here for Waldorf University, the Warriors. He came in as a defensive coordinator from Benedictine. You're going to hear that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But originally from Coffeyville, Kansas.
What?
Now,
Southeast Kansas,
more like Northeast Oklahoma. You're right on the line.
right on the border.
So I was thinking about that on the way out here. So you're down there right on the border of Oklahoma. Then you go to school right on the border of Missouri. Or is it Missouri?
Missouri.
Missouri or Missouri?
I would say Missouri, but you went to school in Missouri, so you
but
tell
he
us.
didn't go to Mizzou, so
Well, but it was so the folks down there. It was kind of
Missouri.
it was Bakersfield.
Depends on how far south you are, I suppose.
Well, I was at Northwest Missouri State, and there was a lot of Missouri down there, and I couldn't say Missouri for the longest time. It was Missouri, and that was a strange place to live. I loved it. I really did. Maryville was a great town, but you would have somebody take two guys, same age, born the same day. They grew up across the street from each other.
yeah.
And you come up and say, "Hi, how are you?" And they'll say, "I'm very good, thank you." And then you look at this guy that grew up across the street from him. "How are you doing today?" "I'm real good, thank you very much."
Bad parenting.
Well, I don't know. That could very well be. And there's a place in Maryville called Dogtown, which is like the eastern part of town because everybody's got dogs.
Okay.
And so maybe that's why you grow up in Dogtown. You're gonna
Wow.
Get a little more twang.
down at Coffeyville. You decided to venture far from home that first year out of high school, and you played one season down at Coffeyville Community College as a linebacker.
So I actually
Okay, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Google. I went to Southwestern College in Winfield and redshirted my freshman year. And then there was a lot of staff changes and whatever. So I went back to Coffeyville the following fall.
Did you live at home as well?
I did that fall, yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of a thing with you guys. That was when you were in prep school, though. That's a different deal.
I lived at home when I went to Benedictine as well.
Yeah.
To what?
When I went to Benedictine, I lived
You had the
at home.
opportunity to live at school.
Benedictine.
You chose not to.
I've never heard it pronounced. I always thought it was Benedictine.
Yeah, it's
Tomato, tomato, Missouri, Missouri.
Oh. Well, so then Coach transferred out to Benedictine.
Yep.
I'm saying it right now. For his last 3 years as an undergrad. He got your bachelor's in physical education. Is that right?
I did.
So if it doesn't work out, you can go be a high school PE teacher.
Good.
That's nice. That's nice. Everybody needs a fallback plan.
You know, I have a funny story about that.
That's why he married me.
And I hope that that's not why he married you. I think a good friend of mine was a coach with Upper Iowa when they were D3. And he is currently, and has been for 15 years, the PE teacher at Central Springs, just to our east here in Forest City, about 20 miles. His name's Craig Johnston, and if there was a Sylvester Stallone character that came to life, it would be him. Just that, so a million stories about him, but he would often say, kids say, "You were the head coach at Upper Iowa University? How did that go?" And he's like, "Well, I'm a PE teacher at Central Springs."
You tell me how that went.
So he's one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet, and he's awesome, and I love him and his family, but that is one of the best stories. Yeah, so there you go.
That's a great line.
Yeah,
I could probably recruit him on our staff then.
He would love that. I don't know if you could handle his intensity. He's a little...
It's good. We need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Daniels could get a little intense from time to time, and he went down, and now he's the head coach at Des Moines Christian, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. So then you were a GA at Benedictine, and you got your MBA, a running back coach.
Running backs. Yep.
Yeah, we brought you up here to be a defensive coach, but you were running back coach right out of the stable.
Played linebacker. A lot of the times you want to switch the other side and learn the other side, and I was swimming right off the bat.
Coach Paramore talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. He did, and but he's got a pretty good resume,
Yeah.
Coach Paramore. You picked up a pretty good one there, and I think that that's going to hopefully
Oh yeah.
prove out for you. But when we had that conversation, the same conversation, and we asked, well, now how did you, Coach Chapa, learn how to be what was his first deal? Like he was some
receivers,
like a receivers coach, and he had no idea. And his answer was,
YouTube.
I did hear that.
Callie, listen.
That's hilarious.
I watched YouTube.
So is that a thing? Like, because, all right, so the world of college coaching is, it's all over the place.
All over.
the goal is to become a head coach, et cetera, and then but to get to that spot, I mean, it's like, who do you know? And it's very interesting, but it is not hobo water, but it is, you're moving.
Oh yeah,
you're right. And so that's something. And so when you look, so a coach comes to you and resume presented, et cetera, and then you look at it and you go, well, I see you were a receivers coach. I see you were a, D-line coach, like whatever your deal is. Like, how did this happen? But you kind of understand that. So is that something you look for in the variety, or?
I think it helps guys when they first get in, just to have that, you played one side, coach another side, and just the experience along the way to be able to coach both sides of the ball.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense if you're a receiver coach and you came in from the linebacker side because you've been reading them the whole time. So that I get, but sometimes it seems.
Well, it's one of the things Twan talked about is that, he loved being a wide receiver. And I think when he was at like Sterling or something, I believe it. Well, no, Sterling, he was D-back. But Twan said that's one of the things that he loved about learning going from the offensive side to the defensive side. And we'll see that out of David Warren this year.
Yeah.
That it's going to be like, I know what this guy's going to do.
Yeah.
For the most part, you're not going to know the route necessarily, but some of those techniques that the receivers use to try to get themselves open
but there are guys like line coaches they stick to the line.
There's certain guys that you're a quarterback's guy.
You got Ani in here, and the dude's enormous.
Ani's a coach.
He's got a
coach.
He's got an attitude that is a little awesome and also frightening if you're on the wrong side of the ball, I think. And then that's good, and he's got a lot of goals. But then also, I imagine that you're not. I mean, kicking coach. Like who's your special? Somebody's got to.
Actually, Coach Paramore is.
Really?
Quite the brain on special teams.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When it comes to kicking coaches, when I'm at practice, I stand on the sidelines and watch practice go on, and the kickers and long snappers are there. So if anybody needs a title, I could be
do it. You could YouTube it.
Yeah. Well, and I usually tell the guys, well, you should probably go over there and just kick instead of stand here and talk to me. Oh yeah.
We have told our
Coach
boys,
him up, Andy.
This whole time that, like, listen, PK, let's just, like, you get to the NFL, just be PK because you'll it's the best career ever.
There's a lot of pressure.
Nobody took that. Yeah, they're linebackers and corners and whatever.
Like to hit people.
Yeah.
Well, and see, I was a kicker in high school.
Oh, you were?
I was the kicker in high school.
Nice.
And I thought you played.
I mean, come on,
fullback.
Actually, what I did, I played fullback my freshman year, and then I moved up to varsity, and I was I was an offensive. I was an offensive guard and a linebacker.
You're like a rover.
Well, and
wherever you needed to be.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, the only thing I wasn't in on was PATs because we had actually Jason Ambrosen, which was a year younger than us. Jason kicked PATs for us, so I'd had a little bit of a break. But I'd go over and because we had the old square toe kicking shoe.
Yes.
With the big strap that you went around 4 or 5 times. But it was interesting because not too
what we're
long.
Talking about? No.
Not a clue.
Did you kick
you
off
get
a
your
tee?
doctorate
kicked
of
off a
nursing.
tee.
They probably have those in a museum somewhere for people with weird feet.
Dismantled toe.
But I got a hold of an old Four City record book.
Yeah.
And it was a kickoff average with more than 3 kickoffs in one game. And I still got the record.
Wow.
Yeah. 60 yards. Cause that's back when we used to kick off from the 40. Yeah. So you kick it in the end zone every time. Yeah. But that was easy. Just straight on, kick it hard, run downfield, hurt people.
Actually, Waldorf's been very consistent with Slater, and now that's changing. So how do you feel about that? Everything going to be okay there?
We have 2 young guys that battled all spring, and they've been sending me videos every week.
So is that right?
Yeah.
Hey, look what I did.
Yeah. Show me that there's progress all summer. So
okay.
I told one of them, I said, what you need to do
is a big deal.
Take a couple balls home or go buy some footballs and kick 250 balls a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
250?
Yeah.
That might be too much.
Oh, no. Michael Jordan.
He's hardcore, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy, listen, he didn't mess around.
That's right.
You don't have the record at Forest City High School football.
If you're gonna go,
If you're going to
just
We're gonna
go big.
hard.
yeah, because if there's one thing we know, it's, how
Kick
to
it to
kick
the end
field
zone.
goals. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got all the way up to your GA. You decided to stay at Benedictine, and you were the linebackers coach from 2013 to 2018. In 2018, you actually served as an interim defensive coordinator down there, and you ended up playing Benedictine. I'm saying it. I'm sorry. I can't do Benedictine. It sounds wrong.
No.
It's fine.
But you guys played
Like the monks.
You guys played in the NAIA National Championship game in 2018.
Wow.
We did.
Unfortunately, lost to an Iowa school. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Morningside, but
Never heard of him.
no,
Nope.
me either.
Nope.
But apparently, they must have had a good football team that one year.
Yeah.
So the really cool part, I kind of got into this when I was researching you a little bit. You got to play for legendary coach. Now, folks out of the NAIA or folks that don't know, Larry Wilcox is a name that you should know. Larry Wilcox was 42 years as head coach. He retired in 2020. The field is named after him down there. He has a record of 305 and 153. That's huge. He is number 3 in NAIA history for most wins and number 12 in all college coaches in the United States ever. He's in there with folks like Amos Alonzo Stagg, Pop Warner, Bear Bryant, Bobby Bowden, Eddie Robinson, Joe Paterno. Number 12 on the list.
Wow.
Is Larry Wilcox. And that had to have been monstrous
Oh, yeah.
for philosophy and just being able to play for and coach under such an amazing man.
The consistency that he brought, you can see. Well, he was a military guy too, right out of college, and he's got to be the most influential coach I've ever been around.
So for real, like, because sometimes there's, head coaches are, particularly at that point in their career, are a little out of the way. You've got so many
Right.
graduate assistants and assistant coaches and to get to that influence. So really, like, you were able to be influenced by.
He knew every player on the team,
Is that right?
and we had a big roster.
Yeah.
And I just an organization. Now he wasn't calling the plays, and
Right.
he was still involved but just he didn't micromanage anybody. He set everyone up for success so you could coach, but also you knew he cared about you as a coach and the players. We described him as a M&M, hard on the outside, soft on the inside.
They have a hard can to show.
Yep.
Didn't know that.
But yeah, he to win that many games, unbelievable. And be a head coach that long.
That long. Yeah.
At one school, because usually, there's differences or.
Well, he had some ups and downs through there, and
Yep. But it was, looking back, I was probably, you go to camps and you talk to a lot of coaches, and the way that place is set up is different than anywhere else in the country.
What do you mean?
Just for him being the head coach that long.
Yeah.
And the influence he made at the school, and he kept the school open how many times with recruiting, and he was the AD and baseball coach or softball,
Golf.
did he come to the wedding?
He did.
Larry Wilcox did come to our wedding.
Wow. Do you remember the gift?
I'm sure it was money.
Yeah, he's a money guy.
He's a money guy for sure.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there's number one.
He brags that no coach has ever been divorced that was on his staff. So
Is that right?
yeah,
Well, and kind
Well,
of,
therewe little bit of pressure, right?
there is.
well, and one of the things we talk about all the time is that, and you've heard the podcast, when we talk about whether it's coaches or players or community members, it's one of those things that we want this gridiron club, this thing that we call Waldorf football. We don't just want really good football. We get it. But what we want is, at the end of the day, for all these young men on the roster to graduate, go out and do great things and be good people.
Yep.
Yeah, it helps to win, though. But you're absolutely right, Andy. And I wonder, so obviously you have listened to the previous episodes, the Father's Day episode you called in. We made a special edition, first time for us. We made a 0.1. which I don't know if that is how it translated actually on the whole distribution list. But the montage there was incredibly complimentary to you, and it speaks highly of your character and how, well, mostly I guess what your players think of you. And some of these players, by the way, just got here and also had some conflicts in the past with their own coaches. Now, you also didn't stay, you weren't, college one from,
Right.
year 1 to year 4 or 5, whatever. So you kind of get that. How in the world do these kids know? I mean, some of it could be brown nosing. We'll chalk some of it up to that. But I'm going to say that, but there must be some truth to that. What in the world do you credit that to? That they obviously appreciate you. Why is that?
I always think that as a coach and our coaches, we got to be ourselves.
Yeah.
And I do care about every one of them. I want to win games just as bad as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I also care about how's mom and dad. What's your hardest class? You have your books. What do you need help in? And you can kind of read body language and how guys are feeling, and just caring about people. And that's what football is about. People. You win with good people, and that's what I think it is.
I got to know, how did you get to Waldorf?
Yeah.
How'd that
what in
happen?
the world?
I mean, because I remember I watched a video. Actually, it was on Callie's Facebook feed of the former coach
Littrell?
Josh
Yeah.
Littrell. That's his name.
I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping he listens because I want him to come up. Well, he'd beat me up bad, but
He's got to catch you.
but he said yeah.
You can kick him, hit him with a
that's
field
right.
goal or a kickoff.
So the video on Callie's Facebook was great because after the game, he's got the team down on the sideline and he's jacked up and he goes, "Did I tell you guys? I told you I'd bring in somebody special. Game ball, Coach Finley." And so, how did it happen that Josh Littrell brought you from a national championship game year
Yep.
up to Waldorf University? Like, how did you sell that to you?
Well, first, never thought we'd live in North Iowa, which has been awesome, right? I mean,
Yes, it has been very awesome. But I don't think Josh still had to sell you as much as he had to sell me.
yeah,
I believe that
he did a good job selling.
He did do a good job.
Kallie. But no, it was, we had our run and, we went through the recruiting. We had actually already started spring ball and his DC retired. And I'd met Josh 2 years before at a recruiting fair in Florida. And the same with building a relationship with players. I try to keep a relationship with coaches, and Callie's like, what coach is that? Or, I'm always on the phone, whether it's recruiting our players or other coaches that, I know in the profession, and stayed up with Josh. And, that's kind of where it started. And then he sold us when we were, obviously, he's a good salesman and
He is.
good recruiter and good coach. And that's kind of how it happened.
Interesting. So, what was the final
Yeah, how
straw,
did that
Callie?
happen?
I mean, what did he promise you anything?
No, he didn't promise anything. I think it was just so shocking to me when we got up here. Well, first of all, I'm 6 months pregnant when we came up for this visit. And
Get you when you're emotional.
yeah,
That's
right.
a good way to close.
Not clear-minded.
And we left Kansas where there was 0 snow on the ground. It was March.
Yep.
And I swear every hour we came north, there was another foot of snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to Forest City, I'm driving a little Altima, which terrible idea, but I couldn't see around a 4-way stop because the snow piles were so big. And I'm by myself because they stole Will at some gas station in Clear Lake. And they're like, come to Forest City in 4 hours. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll see you guys in 4 hours. So I make it to Forest City and we went to lunch with Josh and Renee. So I got to meet Renee.
Mm-hmm.
And then Josh had me in part of the interviews that afternoon with the players. And then Josh kicked Will out of the room and had a one-on-one with me. And I just thought that was really interesting. And like Will said, making relationships with people, Josh did a really good job of that with me. And I'm forever grateful for that because that is really what sold us coming here. Because there were several job opportunities that came in on the same day, in fact.
Oh, wow.
How
lucky are
And
we?
to be quite honest, Waldorf was the worst. I don't know if that's the right way to put it,
fair.
but financially, it was the worst opportunity.
Right.
But I was included in the entire process with Waldorf and getting Will up here to coach, and was not with the others. And so it made us feel like it could be home.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it has been.
Yeah.
So since Waldorf's been a 4-year school, we've got 19 seasons playing football. The record, you ready for this?
No.
The record,
No.
19 years, 56 and 136. That's a 29.167 winning percentage.
Yeah, but
So in 2017,
let's just do the last 5-6 years. How about
go
that?
from 2017.
Okay.
Since 2017, we're 33 and 17. 66% winning percentage. Coach, your last 2 seasons, we are 16 and 6 or 13 and 6?
15 and 6.
15 and 6. So we're about 70% winning percentage under your direction, which is huge. I mean, absolutely huge. So it really talks about Littrell might have started something, but it's one of those things I can tell you from a fan's point of view. When Waldorf was having that first success with Coach Littrell, you'd have to put up 60 points and it'd be like 62 to 58.
Yeah.
And they just had to outscore everybody. And that's one of the things we talked about was that
Yeah.
I'm like, man, we need a defense. And literally that next year, Coach Finley comes in as defensive coordinator, and it was just like, all right, we got a cement wall here you're going to have to run through.
Yeah.
And what was, were there any major things when you got here, whether it was a personnel or a philosophy or anything, to say, no, we need to do this because you guys are doing something wrong? And nothing against Coach Jordan, but.
We sat down, Coach Chop and Coach Henry, we sat down, and I was watching the film because I had a week before I got up here in April, and I stayed with Josh during spring ball. And we got to focus on fundamentals. We got to be better at fundamentals, tackling, and pursuit to the ball. And that's what we focused on. And coached our guys hard. You know, they had already recruited a lot of talent, and we made changes defensively, the scheme and all that stuff, but we hammered away at those 3. You know, if you get any more than that, what direction are we going?
Right.
You know, so we focused on those 3 and coached our guys hard, and you know, I think that was that was the change.
So the best thing that there's a lot of Josh is a friend of mine and played golf many times with him, etc. Not as good a friend with me as he is with my brother-in-law, but the best thing that I think that he did is he was really good at hiring the right people. And he also, what that also means is that he'd let people go that were part of the program that did not succeed for 15 years. And so that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, because one of the great things about being in a small town football program, what we've got here, is that you got a lot of support, but that means that the coaches become a part of your barrister, and you look around and you go, well, these are our family, these are our folks, and everything like that. And then when you're running in and you're coming in at 5 and 7 or whatever, you're like, yeah, but there are whatever. And then at a certain point, you have to cut ties. What Josh did is he just cut everybody loose, and there were some folks I think that were surprised by that, and that's okay. And then the result is that you come in and you see an entirely new program. 4 years down the road, you're at 70% success rate, which is that is a credit to what he did. He didn't accomplish that himself, but he did by hiring the right folks, and then you have continued that by hiring the right folks, giving the right people the opportunity, etc. So that's a good thing.
No, he set us up for success, and I think the biggest thing from coming in, not only having good coaches, but recruiting good players, but involving the community. And I think that's only grown with the Gridiron Club and the extra events we've done, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
So, Kallie, you talked a little bit about making Forest City your home. What's it been like? Somebody from, now let's be honest, that 5 hours that it takes to get down to Atchison, you'd think that would be like, well, it's probably really cold there. No, it's nothing like up here. However, what's it been like, the transition? Because you spent the majority of your life in the Atchison area.
Is that where your folks still are?
Yeah, I actually grew up in Omaha
Mhm.
until high school age, and then
Okay.
so I have parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles in Omaha, and then my mom and stepdad are still in Atchison, and then all my siblings are kind of in the greater Kansas City or Omaha area.
Okay.
Do you know who Lauren Green is?
Lauren Green? It's not a name. I'm familiar with.
Mutual of Omaha is people.
You can count on when they go. Really? Nothing?
No.
Oh man, I looked forward to that. Was that like on Sunday night?
So old.
Yes, we are.
Yes. All right.
Oh man, you know what Mutual of Omaha is, don't you?
Of course.
Of course. And so there was a
Well, they used to host their own
the wildlife show.
animal show. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the greatest thing ever. I mean, 30 minutes of nothing but,
You
you know,
know, for singing that theme song, though,
Jim-
they ought
was
to be
it-
hosting this.
wasn't it
show.
like Jim Fowler,
Not
the guy?
hosting it, but paying for it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marlon Perkins would be standing there.
Yeah.
As Jim goes over and castrates the hyena. You know, what in the world is going on?
We were just at the zoo, so that
Oh,
and so-
which is a great zoo, by the way. Omaha's
Oh.
got a great zoo. Yeah.
Best in the world.
Yeah.
Well, second best. San Diego's pretty top notch.
San Diego. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what it's like living in Forest City.
It's
We
been
got a
great.
great zoo.
Also known as the Finley household.
Yeah.
No, it's been great. We bought a house here, and I think that that's one of the things too that we knew that would make this home, and we put down roots. Our oldest son has autism and needs services in school. The teachers at Forest City Elementary, specifically Mr. Treelor, have just been phenomenal and have helped him grow and flourish in ways we didn't think would it really ever be possible. And then Lincoln, I mean, he thinks everything in this town is his. My school, my Lulu,
Yeah.
my football, my dad, everything. So, we've met wonderful people and great friends. And I do work in Mason City, not here in Forest City, but I have a great job and I work with a great group of people over there. And it really, the staff that are here with us and with Will at Waldorf have become like family to us. And so, yeah, it's just been a great opportunity for us and for our family.
That's one thing I've noticed, just kind of somewhat being on the outside, is that the coaches are going to be close because they spend inordinate amounts of time together,
Yeah.
especially in the fall, but I mean, throughout the entire year. But I've also noticed that coaches' wives and girlfriends and things like that, you guys become a very close-knit group as well. And that's something that you don't really talk about that. We've really never talked about that dynamic before. But is that something that is standard throughout the industry?
So I think that it is becoming more standard because, I mean, they talk about coaches' wives. They don't talk about carpenters' wives or insurance bakers' wives or,
Because
I mean, there's very, very few professions that talk about it as a wife. I mean, you have your army wives and
that's true.
things like that. And
Because
then
they're
you have,
gone all the time. That's why.
right.
They're gone all the time.
And
Yeah.
so there's this like camaraderie with being a coach's wife because most people don't understand the life that we live. And it takes a special group of people to come together to understand it and support their husbands because they're not around all the time.
Right.
And when
And
they
they're dealing
lose,
with
the whole
things-
family
yeah.
loses and they lose for like
Yeah.
5 days before
Oh.
they can move
20
on and think
24
about the
hours.
next.
That's all you get is that's
Yeah.
fair.
24 hours.
If only.
Yeah.
And there's actually, there's the American Football Coaches Association, which Will is a member of, and then there's the American Football Coaches Wives Association, which I'm a member of. And it's been a great opportunity to meet wives across the country in all levels of football, high school, NAIA, JUCO, Division 3, 2, 1, and even the NFL. And so I actually serve on the board of directors for that organization. And
Holy
so,
cow.
Wow.
She wears many hats.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and one of the things I did fail to mention is that Coach Finley in 2021 was AFCA. There's 35 under 35, which is
Yep.
it's a leadership academy essentially that you guys they select 35 of these coaches, and like what Kallie just said, it's from high school to NFL. Bring them in, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Okay.
I still want to stay on the coach's wife thing,
Yeah.
because we
He
haven't
was
had
part of that.
Yep.
Okay.
but yes,
It'd be
he
weird
was.
if he wasn't. He just introduced it and then
No. I said in 2021 he was part
Yeah.
of.
They had this great thing, but Will didn't get it.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Exactly. It was awesome. He should totally
Yeah.
have got it. But, well, he's going to be 35 soon.
Yeah.
You are 35.
I am
Oh, you're getting old.
this
Yeah,
year.
that'll be the last time.
Exactly. I was a
for you.
junior in high school when you were born. Maybe a senior.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Doing math
But-
right now. Continue on.
But
It's
one of the
take a
things
while.
that has been
Around a
said over and
4.0.
over and over again is that support structure for our coaching staff, the wives, the families, the community, but mostly those rocks that they have at home is what allows them to be coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody appreciates that because August 3rd,
Yep.
the guys report, and you'll probably get to see your wife in November.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well,
So did you know, as a rock, did you know that you would be committing to this type of relationship when you met the young, handsome linebacker from?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Did you know?
Well, I
that?
didn't meet the young, handsome linebacker. I met the young, handsome GA.
Oh,
Completely
different.
Yeah.
So you already
So
knew.
I already knew a little bit about it, but
Did you understand the
before we got
college coaching profile?
too serious, Will and I had the talk. And
Okay.
it's not, the normal talk that I think people have, but it was
right.
I wish you'd have that. I'd put it
the
to
football coaches' wives talk.
Yeah.
And like, are you in on this? Because it could be a move every year. I might get fired. I might,
I
I
kind
don't
of
know what's going to happen.
the way I
Yeah.
imagine it going is having a very important talk, and and Will asking Kallie, it's like, "What are your dreams?" I want to be a doctor. Will you marry me?
music. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Correct. Yes.
Much. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
So, as a nurse, I can get a job basically anywhere
Yes, you
in
sure can.
in a wide variety of settings. And so,
Yeah. I just picked a scab recently, and you might notice. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I think you need a Band-Aid, maybe some Neosporin, rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's the answer.
And so I was ready for that type of lifestyle. And, coming from Benedictine, where the head coach was the head coach for 42 years, never left, Will said, it's not like this everywhere,
Oh, that's
And-
pretty good of you to
and it's-
say.
But it could be.
Yeah.
but it could be. Right. But,
Yeah.
people get fired and people get demoted and, people move.
Yeah.
And so that's what it might be. And he basically said, if you're all in, then let's do this. But, I'm giving you your out. and I was all in, and here we are in Forest City.
Yeah.
I appreciate
So,
that.
well, I want to hear a little
Really
bit.
do.
About,
That was the spark notes of it.
I want to hear about what your take, Will, is on the.
It's good
the
to have Spark Notes
sacrifice.
written by a 4.0, though.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if
geez.
we wrote them?
Yeah,
Not good.
in
Yeah.
crayon. Well, I want you to.
Matching crayon, too. Like, I ran out of this one. This one's on a radiator.
That was elementary school all the time. So, Will, I want you to talk a little bit
macaroni
about
and cheese.
about
Tiffany pink.
about your realization of what the family, specifically Kallie, sacrifices so that you can do that thing that you love.
Well, we've talked about it. We are a football family. There's some people say, I'm a football coach, but I'm also a father. We've talked about it. We are a football family, and so I include them as much as I can, and they're in the office, and the boys are running around, and the tailgates are together. The same thing with the wives. We'll all go do things together, and no, I couldn't do what I do without Kallie. The rock at home, supporting, but also knowing almost as much about football as our players probably do.
I was going to just bring that up.
I
too.
mean, so she not only loves football, but supports, my passion and the direction of Waldorf football. And it's pretty special.
How did you come to love football so much?
How did I come to love
Yeah.
football so much? Well, as I mentioned, I grew up in the great state of Nebraska, where everyone bleeds Husker red.
bug eaters,
So, Cornhuskers.
bug eaters.
And so I grew up going to Memorial Stadium on
Yeah,
Saturdays.
of course.
Oh,
With my dad and my grandparents.
Mhm.
And My older brother played football.
Follow-up question before we get there.
Please.
So then you watch that, and you're such a huge Husker fan that it somehow might be reflected in the naming of your children. Could you explain
just
that?
may be reflected in the naming of our children.
And can you explain that?
So our oldest son's name is Barrett.
You explained this to me the other night, and I think it's great.
So when I was pregnant with Barrett, I had an app on my phone that told me the size of the baby as he was growing. And 1 week, randomly, it said he was the size of a corn cob. And I thought it would be funny to text Will to say he was a corn cob, which meant he would be a corn husker, obviously. And so we should name him Barrett, who, in my opinion, Barrett Ruud was the greatest linebacker to play at the University of Nebraska. And with Will having been a linebacker, it all just kind of made sense. And I thought it was really comical, and it brought tears to Will's eyes.
There you go.
From then on, it was Barrett William. And then Lincoln, our 3-year-old, Will's grandmother, her maiden name is actually Lincoln, so we can give her the credit, but it doesn't go without saying that.
He is sort of related to the president.
He is sort of related to Abraham Lincoln, yes. Yep, in the same
but
family
also,
tree. Also Lincoln, Nebraska.
Correct.
The home of the Cornhuskers.
Right.
Well, I mean, because Memorial Stadium Finley just doesn't really roll off the tongue.
No.
Or like Ndamukong Finley, or something like that. So
Ndamukong Finley.
So we have Barrett and Lincoln.
Well, that is pretty awesome, and it is a
except
true
Lincoln's
testament.
going around telling everyone Boomer Sooner these days, because my sister, who's getting her PhD at the University of Oklahoma, she graduates this coming month, thinks it's really funny.
That's got to be hard to take.
So he was saying, it's kind of become
a thing in our house. So maybe our next child will be Boomer. I don't know. We'll see.
Boomer's a cool name. No, Boomer's a. Look, when I was growing up, my favorite quarterback was Boomer Esiason. For a period of when I was growing up, I grew up for a long period of time, but Boomer was part of that.
Well, and football comes up with some of the best nicknames. Like, if you could pick your own, like, who wouldn't want to be Booger?
Yeah,
I mean, come
on.
on.
I wouldn't want to be Booger, but yeah.
Anyway,
what this is leading to is we have a football field named after a coach who was here for 40-some years, named A. David Bolstorff, and we've talked about him many times, reverentially, which is probably appropriate because he actually is reverend. And so there is that possibility, and the future of Waldorf is changing a little bit, which is exciting. I don't know how much you can speak to that, but the reality is that Waldorf is returning to its roots to some degree. And I don't know, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I went to the revealing, and going back to nonprofit school.
There you go.
And, I'm excited to see what changes there might be or what the roots were. But obviously, they were good with how they were really good at football for a long time.
For those folks who are listening to this and they haven't gotten the latest Google alert that Waldorf University is returning to its Lutheran roots. It is, and so we're very, very excited about that and what the future holds. So keep tuned for more information on that. We hope to have President Alsop on to talk about those things. And, of course, he's a huge supporter of the program. Your program is incredibly significant to Waldorf University. It's, what you do for recruiting. And part of that is making sure that those kids feel like they've got a home here so that they stay, they complete that degree, and, they're around here for a while. So we appreciate that. How do you do that?
Well, I appreciate you asking or you guys noticing that, because that's, sometimes when you're in the D-Jack and you're just worried about our, the players and our wives and our kids, and, you sometimes don't know if other people are seeing the success of our players both on and off the field. And number one, we want our guys to walk across stage and get an education. I tell every family that, and because that's going to help them 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. And whether they use the degree, like Kallie got psychology and she's a nurse or whatever, that's what I want our guys to be able to do. And two is to come here and help us win a conference championship. So when it's football time, we're going to get after it. and Andy's seen that. We're going to coach our guys hard, but when it's not, I want our guys to be student athletes. I want them to go to the volleyball game. I want them to go to Tell You What in Lake Mills or at Mason or whatever. I want our guys to have a great experience.
I also see them obviously at the elementary school, and Andy's mentioned that before, where we do, high fives Friday and whatnot, and that is just amazing. And I mean, the kids love that.
It's pretty cool.
I mean, do you
get them up early?
Yeah, you get out of here, get over there. Yeah, your guys are out there. It's just awesome.
Yep.
And then you do go to the high school games too, and not just Forest City, but I think you do travel around a bit just to make sure that there's some folks to see that there's some black and purple out there, and that's awesome too.
No, I mean, I think it's that all encompassing, wanting to be involved in the community, and we can't say, well, no one's at the games, or we have to be involved and show support of everyone else. And no, it's been and really the third thing, and the thing that what I want our guys 10, 20, 30 years from now is like the lifelong relationships. Whether it's with the coach, it's going to be with the coaches. I always tell our incoming guys, the things that's going to set me apart from maybe another school is if you call me in 15 years, I'm going to answer the phone.
Because you won't change your number.
Never going to change my number. But because we're going to go to a wedding in a couple weeks of a player that played for us. He was a corner in the national championship for us from Missouri.
Oh, good job.
And but that's what it's all about. Those lifelong relationships, and because as you guys know, it's connections and knowing people and whatever you do. So and helping our guys get to where they want to go.
Yeah. And Kallie, that's got to be great for the boys to build relationships with those kids that are on the team, being able to know who they are and those players knowing who they are and just kind of, be part of your family. Talk a little bit about that. What's that like to have, you have like 130 sons every fall.
I do. It's great. It's something that we enjoyed, back at Benedictine, and we've continued to bring that here, and having players over to our house for grill outs or dinners or whatever. Last year we had players show up at our house for our dogs' birthdays, take pictures with our dogs. We've had players babysit our children before.
Yeah.
David
Warren specifically, he's definitely changed a diaper or two in his day. My kids aren't afraid at the football stadium during whether that be practice or games. Probably need a little bit of fear in them because they're ready to just go out there. Maybe when it's not an appropriate time, but they do. They enjoy being around Dad at work, and part of being around Dad at work is being around the players and the other coaches. And if you ask Lincoln who his best friend is, it's Coach Ani, with Coach Choppy coming in probably a very, very close second.
Coach Ani lived with us, and he was reading
Old McDonald every morning.
McDonald at 7:15. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's still, Lincoln gets mad at Mom and Dad simultaneously. He screams, "I want my coach." So,
wow.
How many kids say it that way?
Yeah.
I want Uncle Ethan. No, Coach.
We do try to be involved. It's not just the players that go to the things on campus. We try to take our kids to the games and to the different things. In fact, we went to some talent show or something this spring. And
was it Mr. Waldorf?
Was that what it was?
Might have been.
I don't know.
Would you be shocked to know that I was the first Mr. Waldorf?
Oh, wow.
I would not be shocked to know that. I have zero doubt that you were Mr. Waldorf.
I'm really not going to go into it, but back in 1994, I was Miss Oceanic. I don't want to talk about it.
Miss Oceanic?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I think Lincoln
right up there then with America, right?
Lincoln probably earned the title of Junior Mr. Waldorf because he ended up on stage.
He did.
Oh yeah.
No fear, and all of a sudden, there's 100 football players standing up, chanting his name from the back of the auditorium. So they love it, and if we go for a walk and we walk past the D-Jack and we don't stop, it's like the world came crashing down because they know that's where Dad is. So
Dad's office. There's books and toys.
There's books and toys, and they like running around and saying hi to the other coaches and giving nooks and high fives and whatever else they do. So,
what a cool way to grow up. I mean, you do sacrifice a little bit of they give their dad away a little bit, but I think that they see in exchange for that, hopefully, the quality of the relationships that they have with the players and the assistants throughout the years as they grow up and develop. I think that's just fantastic.
Great word.
We love it. Being a coach's wife, living a coach's family life is definitely not the easiest task in the world, but it comes with great reward. And part of that is that our kids get to grow up in this life and get the morals and the character building and the diversity, and the experiences that they get.
Yeah, those boys
I couldn't say it any better.
They get to travel too. Lucky little dogs.
Those boys are going to learn all sorts of really cool lessons. What about traveling, Troy?
For the last 11 weeks, Andy has been pitchforking, attempting to start fights with the other programs in our conference.
I've heard it.
Oh, the powerhouse Iowa Wesleyan. They're coming to Forest City this year. Look out.
And, I mean, also like Dakota State, et cetera.
Who?
What? Yeah.
Oh, they're in our conference. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, and then there's those other wieners. What was the name?
Is it presentation?
No. Anyway, we do this all the time. So we like to taunt people, and he's much better at it than I am. As a head coach, what are you hoping for this year? Or what are we looking for?
Yeah, I mean, we have 9 returning starters defensively.
Yes.
So we had a really strong spring. We expect a lot out of those guys. New kicker. Offensively, new Coach Paramore coming in and Coach Ani. We had a really good spring, and our quarterback's back, Coop's back, and we're going to look different than we have.
You did not even mention the people that you've recruited in that interim that are coming and probably going to be on the field as starters as well, which is hilarious on defense. And then on offense, just the whole different look, and then what you're looking. So, what do you think? He's not saying.
No, we'll see. I mean, here's what I tell you: we're going to be competitive every game, and the ball. We got to find a way to win every week. And
what do you think, Kallie?
I just have a really good gut feeling, and the last time I had a good gut feeling, we played in the national championship. So
okay,
yeah.
See, I can't even.
The ball's got to bounce. Our guys gonna be ready to play every week. And we'll go from there.
Well, they're fired up. From the folks that we've talked to, they are fired up, and we still have like 100 left to talk to.
Yeah,
so we're not even close. We might find out in several weeks that we were way off, but because we had a small sampling of very dedicated players, and it's just like you've got a program that is on fire. Yep. You've got a university that is in transition, I think, in a very good way. Yep. That gives people a lot more opportunity to support the program. You've got the largest program on campus, and you drive a lot of those things that make our small university experience so great. And you're doing it in a way that is family oriented and friendly to the community who just wants to support you and do the best we can. That's
the Gridirons.
I appreciate it.
Then the Gridirons tagline actually comes from Coach Finley. We have recruits. They come in on Saturday, and a lot of times I'll stand in the back of the room and try to fade into the curtains. But one of the things that I heard him say over and over and over again, that we want to make this the best small college football experience in America. And we really embrace that, because when Troy and I heard that, it's like, that's us.
Yeah.
That is us.
Because then I wrote it down wrong. And then Kallie was there, actually, and she corrected me, which I think is your number one purpose, is actually just making sure people get stuff right.
Well, and you threw in a North America one time.
I did. It was on a podcast.
I'm like, what's wrong with South America, Central America?
Well, we know.
So real quick, we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes. But before that, we're going to get to the part that's going to make you guys nervous.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Lord.
There we go.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Kallie, how did you guys meet?
We met at a intramural softball game.
I was GA.
He was GA. I was out of school for the first time, I think.
Which is like hanging around?
Yeah. Right?
I think I'm going to go to an intramural game today.
Okay.
I was actually dating one of the people playing intramural softball.
Oh.
Yeah.
And this weird GA would not leave me alone. And I was
Okay.
like, who are you?
Yeah, was it Will?
It happened to be Will. I did happen to know
Great
who
question.
he was because my cousin was the starting running back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When Will was the running back's GA, but I didn't know him well enough for him to be talking to me. So that is how we met
First time.
first time.
Mhm.
What do you mean first time?
Well, that was like the first interaction we had with one another, but it wasn't.
It was more of
Obviously
me.
positive,
It was more of
so-
me like offering her, hey, you want to come down here and hang out? We're in the outfield, drinking Coca-Cola and hanging out.
Yeah.
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 Right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's exactly how the story goes. So,
Some conflict.
yeah. And then said player that I was dating at the time, we broke up, and every Friday, because my cousin played for the team, his buddies would come over to our house and I would make them dinner because I lived with my cousin at the time. And
They drug along a GA, didn't they?
they did drag
One-
along a
one
GA
time.
one time. So that
He's
was the
just
second
eyeballing
time that
you.
we met. And
She's making dinner for the players.
Yep.
Duly noted.
And then like everyone disappeared except for Will at the dinner table. Like they like had this like concocted or something. I don't
Was
know.
that planned? Well,
I don't remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
good call.
Yeah, right.
the third time was at my mom's birthday after a football game. We went down there to celebrate my mom's birthday, and Will decided to buy our table shots. And so
Always a winner.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
that
Depending on
would
the table, though.
Yes.
that
Exactly.
would be the
Yeah.
start of our.
Did you want
Relationship.
Cuervo or bar tequila?
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
I'm a GA.
I don't even know these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
I want it to burn.
So then, okay, so you're buying shots for the fam. Good job. Will?
Before then, I knew him. I
Yeah.
guess.
All right, Will, tell me about your guys' first date.
First date.
Yeah, how'd that go?
The look on Callie's face is great. Like,
Probably went to a movie.
we did go to a movie.
Oh, he's
Do you
got
remember
like
which one?
if you.
was
Sometimes
probably
I wish there was you had like a drop of sweat that just like came out of your part at that exact moment and like came like if you there was. Holy cow! This was CIA questioning at that moment.
and he
Yeah.
ended that
Yeah.
statement with a question mark. It was
Yeah.
probably a movie.
From the movie. Yeah.
And the movie happened to be named Lincoln.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
great movie.
Yeah.
In
What are
Kansas
the
That was
City.
your first date movie?
It was.
Lincoln?
We went to dinner
Not-
and a
not a
movie.
Lincoln the Vampire Slayer?
Isn't that Buffy?
No, there is also one called Abraham Lincoln.
So how long after that Coach Finley was buying the table shots did you guys actually go on that first date? Was there a period of chasing from Will? It sounds like this is all Will pursuing Callie.
Right. But you also lived at home, so you were pretty easy to find.
I was.
Yeah.
I don't remember the timeline on that.
We probably officially started dating like 6 months later, maybe.
Yeah.
We're 6 years married.
Today.
Well, happy anniversary, you
Thank
guys. Troy just got out the Newlywed Game.
Yeah.
Oh, we just got done talking about how great our
Oh,
marriage is
dang
and how
it.
supportive we are, and then you're going to pull this out?
Who said I love you first?
Yeah, who said that?
He is sweating.
I did.
Will definitely did. I don't know if he remembers
I
saying
did.
it.
There
No, I
is,
did.
He did.
folks, there's now hair stuck to his head. It's
He has a bead of sweat coming down.
not
the
a
side of
single, nothing. And
You said the
this-
game, and
We're
I'm
in an
like,
air conditioned bunker, so I don't understand what this. Callie's got no problem.
You got me.
here.
You got
Yeah.
me nervous with these questions.
Is it warm in here?
I gotta go home tonight.
Yeah, right. How did you miss that?
Well, I wasn't going to ask any
No.
questions or really put you on the spot, you know. Like something like, what was her childhood pet's name?
Yeah,
Well,
how about that?
I do know this.
Okay.
you got the name?
I keep going to Sammy and then something with a C, but it's not Colby. It's not Colby.
Oh, see.
Was Casey a dog or a cat?
Casey was a dog.
Golden retriever. She would ride him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he was the biggest golden retriever.
Wow.
He was huge.
Well, I mean, you remember details like that. Like,
Yeah. Golden
Yeah.
retriever, right? Yeah.
Right.
Everything else. Casey, Colby, same thing.
Yeah.
yeah, it's right in there. Yep. What's, Kallie, the first time you met Will's family, what was your impression?
First time I met Will's family was at his younger brother's high school playoff game. And so, rowdy might be the word to use. His mom uses cowbells at football games.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Love it.
And so, yeah, they're a pretty rowdy bunch the first time I met them. But they're good people, and thankful to be a part of their family.
What major rip-off scam will your husband say he's the biggest sucker for?
I got it.
All right. The question was, what major rip-off scam will your husband say he's the biggest sucker for?
Okay, we got to have Callie's answer.
All of them, because he's the most gullible person I know.
And his answer was
Dog toy.
dog toys.
We don't even own dog toys.
Oh,
There's a dog toy scam going on?
There is?
There's always new dog toys and training and
Which we've never done any of.
yeah, but I'm a sucker for it.
so which of your wedding guests, Kallie, would you say gave you the greatest competition for attention on your wedding day? And
Oh, boom. She did not slow down. Will, what you're going to have to answer this.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my best man. Yep, Birch.
Birch.
oh,
Is that his given name?
No.
Michael.
Michael.
Oh.
Mike. Yeah.
His last name's Birch.
okay.
O'Connor.
No,
His
just
last name's O'Connor.
nickname. You know, high school nicknames.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What was your high school nickname?
I don't know if I had one.
Will is the only one in his group that didn't have a high school nickname, except for like Willie. But everyone else, I had to meet these people, right? And their names are Birch, Fat Mike, Slim, and York. And I'm like, who? What?
Yeah.
Which one are you?
Tell me Fat Mike's Italian.
Yeah, with the eye.
I know, I did that for you. Is Fat Mike Italian?
No.
Yeah, how you doing today?
All right. So you got to think of the answer for this. But here's your question. What object in your house will Will say represents the biggest fight the two of you ever had? There's an object in your house that represents the biggest fight the two of you have ever had. What do you think he's going to say?
I'm going to say that Will is writing down our bed.
Dishes, but probably making the bed.
Oh,
Making the bed?
Yeah.
why do you say
which-
dishes, though? All right,
I
go
don't.
on.
I do not do dishes.
I do all the dishes.
How do you do them?
Not well.
Incorrectly.
Do you have a dishwasher, or do you do them by hand?
Both.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
correct.
So let's talk about that. So because my wife,
I'm going to dig into this one too. Yeah,
because my wife has very particular ways of doing like knives, like sharp knives.
Yeah.
They cannot go in the dishwasher.
Oh, really? Why?
I do a good job on that.
He does.
Don't ask me why.
Okay, don't know
I mean,
the
if
answer.
I'm going to get into Keela's psyche, that's not even fair. She's a brilliant woman, but I'll tell you what, something like you don't put knife, well, they're going to get dull. Any type of cup you would drink out of?
yeah.
Nope. Well, no, that's not true. Water cups, things with a lid, can't go in the dishwasher. Like plastic cups, glasses, they can go in the dishwasher.
I see what her reasoning is there.
Pots, pans, that has to all be hand washed.
Okay.
Our pots and pans go in the dishwasher.
Yep.
They're dishwasher safe.
I also do all the dishes, mostly because I am the best at spatial relationships and I understand where things are supposed to go.
You pack in the car too.
I
on
man.
trips.
understand. I do, of course, pack
Can you
the car.
teach Will?
Come
Because
on.
facial relationships are not his thing in the dishwasher.
One of the things that like I've noticed or that I know in my soul is that the areas
Yeah.
that I am weak in, my wife is extremely strong in, and vice versa. Areas where she struggles is where I excel. What are those areas for you two?
There you go.
Ooh.
Will is the most intentional person I've ever met. When he talks about relationships and building relationships and all that, he is truly always on his phone. But it's because he has relationships and real, genuine relationships with so many people. whether that be friends from grade school, high school, college, family members, other coaches, players. That's his biggest strength for sure.
What's Callie's, Will?
There's a lot, obviously, but it's hard. It is. I mean, because she is good at so many things, and she's good at organization and leading the charge when someone needs to step up and do it. And caring about, obviously, being a nurse. You know, she might say, I do care about relationships, but her caring about patients and obviously our family and everything we do, that's where she kind of probably kicks in overdrive compared to me.
One of the things I heard about Kallie is a few years ago, and I actually told you about this, Kallie, is that when it was one night, and I don't know if you were head coach yet or whatever, but you guys were here, and somebody, and I can't remember, it was one of the coaches, and Kallie and I had been introduced, and one of the coaches said, that young lady has better football IQ than most of the coaches in this room. You know, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but that's one of the things that, does that ever translate into the relationship? Like you ran an RPO on 3rd and 5 on the 42-yard line. What are you thinking?
She really has never done that. Like maybe one time. Like, what were you thinking? Why'd you take you didn't take a timeout and you should have.
It has nothing to do with play calling as much as it has to do with
game management.
Time management.
Oh.
Time and probably,
Time management.
if I were to guess, probably personnel management a little bit.
No, because I think that
okay.
that the coaches on staff with Will know their players far better than I do.
I get. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
But time management of the clock, like you can't take them with you. You don't get a bonus for taking timeouts into halftime or the end of the game. Like you get 3 per half. Like unless you're rolling and you're like fast paced offense,
right? And
your defense is 3 and out every single time. But like at Valley City last year, I had a father. I have no idea who he was, but a Waldorf father look at me and say, "You like to yell at that guy a lot. You know him?" And I said, "He happens to be my husband." And he was like, "Oh, well, then I guess you keep yelling."
Yeah.
Do you ever hear?
No, I don't. I'm glad I don't.
Oh, because you were in headphones during the game.
Yeah.
That's thank God.
Yeah.
But it's typically
we could get you a headset. Wouldn't that be a great idea? Get Kallie a headset.
No.
I think
Just
that'd
to
be
direct
bad.
to you.
I could be in the box for sure.
No.
You could be, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe think about adding Kallie on staff.
There you go.
Maybe
I could be like the academic coordinator or something.
I think so.
Like I don't need to coach football. I can keep academics in line.
It seems to me that the relationship that you two have is pretty phenomenal. 6 years is a good amount of time, and this is a different kind of test. You know, you give up your husband for a couple of months, few months, I guess, and it really never truly ends. But what you do know is that you've got a guy that is absolutely dedicated to the success of the people that he has a relationship with, and obviously you're at the top of that list with your boys, and that's pretty phenomenal. We've always said, or at least I've always said that, and I think Andy agrees, that there's something about football, regardless of your position in it, that says, look, you could get broken in this. In fact, let's just assume that we will get broken, and you're still going to play. Well, welcome to life.
That's right on.
Mm-hmm.
This was fun, just because of the dynamic and Coach Finley
didn't really know where it was going to go.
I want to thank Kallie especially for agreeing to do this with her husband, Head Coach Will Finley. Want to thank them so much for taking time out of their family life to come out here to the bunker, deep underneath Bullstorf Field, to just visit with us and get to know you guys a little bit better. So with that, for Troy Thompson and Andy Buffington, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the Waldorf Gridiron Podcast, and go Warriors.
Go Warriors.
You can join the Waldorf Gridiron Club today by sending a check to the Waldorf Gridiron Club, P.O. Box 125, Forest City, Iowa, 50436.
Or message us by visiting and like our Facebook page, Waldorf Gridiron Club, or email us at waldorfgridironclub@gmail.com.
Or it's as easy as clicking on the Support the Show link on your phone. Become a patron of the Gridiron Club by choosing to support the program monthly. $100 is the Black membership at $9 a month.
The $250 level is Purple at $25 a month.
$500 is the Warrior membership at $45 a month.
The All-Conference level is $750 or $65 a month.
$1,000 is the All-American membership at $85 a month.
The Champion level is $125 a month, and that's $1,500 a year.
$2,500 is the Hall of Fame membership.
The Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast is hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson. Produced by Sunnyside Farmstead Studios in beautiful rural Forest City, Iowa. The music is by Christian Leo. The Waldorf Gridiron Club is a nonprofit 501c3 organization dedicated to football student athletes of Waldorf University. Our mission is to assist the program in maintaining the best small college football experience in America.